Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned. Hello guys, welcome to Global Happenings Today. We have a trending news here for you, and the headline of the news reads: residents of a major city in Lagos live in fear as unidentified foreigners flood the city. But before we go on with details of the news and other stories, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button and also on the bell icon so as to get notification anytime we publish videos on YouTube.
Alright, there is palpable tension in Festac Town, Lagos State, in Nigeria over influx of unidentified men disguised as Okada riders, petty traders and truck pushers. At least this is what they appear to be during the day, but at night their mission is beyond the comprehension of residents. Unidentified foreigners flood Festac Town as their residents live in fear. Last week, a motorist in Festac Town hit an Okada rider. He was trying to negotiate a turn while signaling with his blinker. Unfortunately, the motorcycle rider was going too fast and did not know his road signs. The result was an accident which damaged both car and motorcycle and injured both rider and passenger. Before the driver of the car could come out of his car and offer assistance to the injured, about 50 Okada riders appeared out of nowhere and descended on the driver, screaming for his blood and chanting Islamic slogans or so. As onlookers stared, an Okada mob beat the driver of the car senseless and damaged his vehicle. He only escaped with his life after he parted with 35,000 naira. Sometime in December 2019, a woman was making a turn into her compound when a crazy Okada rider came out of nowhere and ran into her car. When she came out of her car to assess the damage, a mob of Okada riders attacked her and tore her clothes. By the time help came from people in the area, her purse, her phone had been stolen and her children watched in horror as their mother was beaten and fondled by Okada hooligans. This is becoming a regular occurrence in and around Festac area. Who are these Okada riders? Where do they come from? Why are there so many of them? How come we cannot identify them? Where do they sleep at night? These are the questions we have to ask ourselves and appeal to our government and police to answer. In the last 1 year, the influx of northerners parading as commercial bike riders, trash pickers, vendors of tomato, fruit and vegetables, shoemakers, tinkers, guruwa, paper and other petty items vendor is alarming. These men come to Lagos in droves and settle wherever with no identification, no address, no documentation. Nobody knows their real names, where they come from, or how to monitor them. They parade around as cart pushers and steal drainage covers and manhole covers, leaving gaping holes in the road. They steal generators and air conditioning units from houses and flats, and under the guise of bike riders, they rob innocent men and women at night or in the early hours of the morning. You cannot catch them because they have no identity and no one seems to know them. What you may find most alarming is this: they know you. They know where you live and how many children you have, but you know nothing about them. Most of them are not even Nigerians. They come from Niger and Chad and sleep outside your street or roam around at night looking for what to steal. I overheard a group of them joking that if any of their members is killed, they will spill blood before anyone knows what is happening. They did not know that I understand Hausa, so they spoke freely. If you live in and or around Festac, please forward this message to everyone you know. It's high time we check this massive invasion and force these people to identify themselves. Let 1966 and 1967 not repeat again, because these men all carry weapons and are just waiting for a signal to use them. Before my very eyes, a policeman at my 2 tried to impound a motorcycle for parking on the expressway, and a dozen of them drew daggers and threatened to stab him and his colleagues. This happened on Monday at mile 2. We are in danger and we don't seem to know or care. By the time this message gets to the local government chairman and the state governor, perhaps they will force these men to begin to carry ID card or even reduce their huge numbers. I am not a bigot. and I don't have anything against any tribe, but I value the lives of my family and neighbors, and I don't want to wait until something disastrous happens before I say something.
All right, thank you very much. This is a write-up from someone who is a resident of Festac town, about some of the security challenges they have been having fairly recently. And this is not a step towards bigotry. It's not a step towards stopping people from even coming into Lagos. This is just to let the people understand what they are going through. Because if you walk down your street and you feel so disadvantaged security wise, it therefore means something is wrong. And unfortunately, the people we are talking about here can't be identified. That's the most fearful part of this whole thing. These people can't be identified. Why is it that it's becoming such a difficult thing for people to be identified in Nigeria? Go to places like Ghana. Go to even India. They identify people. United States of America, don't even go there. And the most amazing part of this whole thing is, what does it take for the government to issue out an instruction that everyone should go back to their individual banks and update their identity cards? Update their account with an identity card, not just any kind of identity card. It must be a national ID card. And they make sure also that they expedite action in respect to printing these cards. If common banks here that we have can print ATMs at the snap of the finger, why won't a whole country that have all the resources? We are not even interested in this. It will even go to a point whereby during the period of elections, you hear issues like, foreigners came and vote in Nigeria. And why wouldn't those kind of rumors go? Some people will say, it's a lie, nothing like that happened. Why wouldn't such rumors thrive very well? Because we can't even identify ourselves. Somebody can just walk past you. It looks very suspicious. You just go, hey, come on, where are you from? It could be just a guy who has escaped from Cameroon and just want to come into Nigeria. We are not trying to say people shouldn't be traveling from different states. This is democracy. You have the right to do that, but there should be a means of identification. This thing is causing a lot of issues for people security-wise. And this is not good enough. Imagine you walking down your street and you are being harassed by people you don't have any idea. You can't even trace them to their route. Even people, they say, we don't even know these people. They just came from somewhere. It's not fun. And even the police at a point, they are even scared of them because they know they have that mind to take any decision at any time. They're even scared of them. Well, first of all, I'd like to just look at some of the comments of Nigerians about this issue. It's really happening, and Festac residents are very, very uncomfortable with this. This one says they are Fulanis. They did the same thing to me and my wife last month in the same area close to Alaba Market. The Okada rider accused me that I wanted to hit him with my vehicle, and before I could say anything, they wanted to rob us, but God took over. Another one here said, this is the work of Jubril Buhari and Berotai, who released thousands of Boko Haram terrorists free because they are the same Muslim Boko Haram who have killed thousands of Christians and destroyed hundreds of homes. You then set them free because they are your fellow Muslims. And another one says here, stop lamenting. The resident of Festac has not done the needful. Does your community have bike riders association? Does the bike riders have uniform? Does your community have vigilante men?
They don't.
If no is your answer, then the whole people resident in Festac town should have all this put in place and get the Nigerian police support. With all this in place, your problem will have been minimized. If you go to Lekki and its environment, things are not the same. There is orderliness. I think this is a very good suggestion. I think this is a good one. And because one of the things that Nigerians do not want to hear is the fact that you prefer a particular tribe to stay in your environment. We don't support that. Anybody can live anyway, but the issue is don't cause any form of menace. Don't be behind any form of security threat to those people there. As much as you are free to go to any place and stay and all of that, throw away all those nonsense thought of let's take over this area. Take over now, you get down. Now your papa get the land, now your ancestral land. We will come from Fulani land, come take over another person's land. It doesn't make any sense. And I think that these are some of the things that should be adopted. I think that's where we are going to be discussing. Let's look at how can these things be coped based on some of the suggestions that we have seen from guys. What do you think should be done?
Well, that particular one, that the last one you took, it's actually very sensible. But the truth is, will these bikers be willing to adopt it? We know the truth here. They know why they are there. They are not just there to ride bikes. They know why they're actually there. So anything that would, negate them achieving what they came for, they will practically refute it. They will say no to it. But that's the way to go forward. Another thing, to require them also to put some levies on them so they can have. But that's the thing now. Would they be willing to pay those levies? Because if you have to have some sort of ID card, some sort of uniform and all that, that's a nice one, which means for you to get that uniform, you'll be duly registered and all that. They also need to employ the services of police, maybe from time to time. Have some youths that will have some sort of vigilance. You can see what we are talking. When we talk about Amatekun, this is what we are talking about.
Exactly.
Have you seen the beauty of Amatekun?
Yeah,
because if Amatekun was already in full fledged, some of this, by the time first people cry out, like some personnel from Amatekun will be stationed there. At this time, they will not just be stationed there with ordinary arrest you. They will station them with some sort of weaponry so that at night, you can cop some of this. It will come easy. In fact, anybody who's joining Amatekun will need to do it with passion, because it's as if it's going to take time and begin to undo all the social menaces in the society, especially in the southwestern zone. It's actually everywhere, but just that Amatekun now is a brainchild of the southwest, and they have really done well. We are still talking about the one that happened about 2-3 months ago, very pathetic, where one of these one of the last security guys that used to take care of their road, one of I think 2 of the bikers, they identify them as Hausa. From the southwest here, we really don't know the difference between Hausa, Fulani, and Hausa. We just place them as North. So these guys, they were speaking Hausa. It could be Hausa, Fulani, we don't know. So the security guy, that's the last mile, so picked up this guy because they parked their bike wrongly on the highway. So they seized the bikes and took the bikes to their agency. They're back to their head office. You won't believe what happened. About hundreds of them drove down to the agency. The guys that are supposed to be on the street are already on the street. Those who are in the office are actually admin officers. They came in their thousands, in their hundreds, forcefully opened the door and burnt down the agency. I think that was a month or 2 ago, although we didn't carry it here, but it was pathetic. But no one really screamed. They were happy that they were able to get back their bikes. But that's high level of lawlessness exhibited by foreigners that came into the land to apply their route. They call Lagos no man's land. Honestly, it's not no man's land. Lagos is actually a southwestern land. It's a southwestern state. You don't call it no man's land because it's now a commercial net center. That does not mean it's a no man's land. It's not even everybody. It actually belongs to the Yorubas. Just that other people have come developed it. But it's not fair, really, to begin to behave in a lawless manner. And this is what we're talking about. If Amatekun is already empowered, by now some of these things will be caught. The police are even tired because the level of all manner of vices coming up, their hands are already full.
All right, thank you very much. And I think this should be considered by the police and also by the resident of Festac Town. Folding your hands, watch things happen this way is not good enough. I believe that in those environments, there are people who are overly in charge. Get them to set up a kind of bike association as profiled by one of the respondents. Get them, get the police involved also. They make sure that they register them so that you can regulate them very well and ensure that they are not doing the right thing. Anybody who refuses to, register must not apply that route. You stop the person, because all what we need right now is identification so that peradventure you see them using their bikes to carry. I could still remember, let me just bring this in. I could still remember in Akwa Ibom State, it happened some months ago, whereby some persons, went there and they were doing some funny things with their keke. was actually KK they were using to do some foreign thing. The government had to stop them, and the next thing they said, oh, you guys need to register. Sanwo-Olu is aware of this, but unfortunately, they said they're going to be having a security meeting to address some of this menace of, the bikers on the road, motorcyclists on the road. And after the meeting, they said, well, they couldn't really reach any consensus as it concerns it, and then they're seeking for, recommendations from stakeholders and also from residents, those people who are affected by them, that they need a recommendation on how to curtail the excesses of these, bikers and all of that. But I think the resident needs to take the bull by the horn, make a decision, and the person who is in charge, whether it's the Oba that is in charge of that environment, or there's a particular chief who is in charge of that environment, get him involved. Let's regulate this thing. The youth should wake up and see how they can correct it, because the truth is that if we fold our hand one day, it will come to our doorstep.
Talking about registration, you talked about identification. How would they register? How would you even know that
their exact name?
Yes, because they might just say their name is Said Wole, and that's not their real name. Maybe their name is another, maybe Abdullahi, and they say Said Wole. You write Said Wole. By the time they'll catch somebody, they say, no, it's not me. Me, I'm Said Wole. And the person that they caught it. And it's one and the same. But since you can't identify which is which, identity card is overly important in a country that has visa on arrival. Yeah? This is what we're talking about, this visa on arrival thing. Look at, strangers are entering the land. You can't even identify them. You didn't even make provisions for such things like this before going out there to announce that every African should come into a country. No form of identification. Strangers, bandits can find their way into the country. No way of stopping them. No way of identifying their activities. They just come into Lagos. Lagos is no man's land. Let's go and do whatever we like there. And there's no security network waiting to cope whatever menace that's going to take place. It's rather very saddening.
Well, I want you to go to our comment section. Let's look at this critically.